everyone. So, I'm not really sure how to start this off because I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm trying to get to an overall point, so bear with me, okay? Today was supposed to be a day of celebration. After a 4-month wait because of COVID restrictions at our Secretary of State, I was supposed to be able to change my license, both the name, which I had already changed my name, and the gender marker, due to following the rules of our state. That did not happen, because apparently some rules changed, and now I have to make sure I get my name changed with another governmental agency. Now, this is in alignment with some other states, that's fine. But at no point, including in talking to my lawyer, did this ever happen? Did this ever come up? Because apparently that's how new this is. The thing that's frustrating is that for this Secretary of State visit, I had to wait 4 months. Now, the good news is, once I do the name change through this other agency, I will then be able to, by definition, go do this again. And hopefully it shouldn't be another 4 months, because they're allowing people now because everyone keeps pretending the pandemic's over. Hopefully they keep it out for the next month. So, why the fuck am I bringing this up besides just wanting to scream? Which I believe I did earlier today, and I may have punched my steering wheel because this was frustrating beyond just all measure. I want to talk about something that really bothers me, and I'm not exactly sure what the source of this is, but I'm going to blame the Republicans because it's something I can do. I am fundamentally disgusted with the ineptness of our government, and I am usually a person who is more oft to want to defend governmental systems, considering the shit governmental workers have to deal with. Hey, Parthenax. Mordecai, hi. Here's the thing. There is this thing that nobody ever thinks about. This aspect of bureaucracy that everybody takes for granted, and I think we need to start pushing back on it. As everybody knows, governmental agencies do not talk to one another. Sometimes their systems play off one another, but there's always a bullshit order of operations, and none of them communicate with each other in any effective way. There was never a moment saying, hey, once you're done changing your name, you saw a judge, you spoke to this person, you had to post your, I assume this is true for a lot of states, you had to post your name not once, not twice, but 3 times in a legal fucking newspaper just to make sure no one, I think, either thought you were like a murderer or like, they had like a debt to you.
In the olden days, you could supposedly get out of debt by changing your name, maybe.
Of course, that doesn't work because, we have giant credit bureaus, but go off. So here's the problem. I did everything right. At least I thought I did. I followed my lawyer's advice. I got all this done. Zena has been through this process once before, and with their help and with my lawyer's help, what essentially happened is nothing. Not a goddamn thing. The only new information we got was that I know the form I need, I know what I need to do, and I need to give them, and then I have to wait a month. This is insanity. The fact that governmental agencies do not work together in any kind of meaningful way or use a core database that allows for all of this information to be transferred. So I'll give you an example. This system, by the way, is this way for everyone. This is not just transphobic, though I'll get to why it's transphobic as fuck in a minute. But the one positive that came out of this was the security guard today, I'm wearing my mask, my hair's down, I'm ready to get my picture taken, things got fucked. Security guard looks at me and says, "Oh yeah, it's been, they changed this rule recently. It's for whenever you change your name, whether you got divorced or married." And I was like, "Are those the only two options?" "Okay, well, thank you, sir." Other than that, essentially the big issue here is that these agencies, these different governmental branches do not work together. And I think that this is an incredibly fucked up idea. And I know why this is. Because we have an entire party who has deregulated and made communication between them fucking awful. Apparently, I found this out today, there are some agencies that even at the federal level, due to the interaction of federal and state law, that may require you to have SRS and a letter from your doctor to be able to change their letter in their file. And I'm not talking about like a state level. I'm talking about the federal level. So even if you get like your license changed, your name changed, even if you're able to change your birth certificate through some loophole or because your state is fucking, actually streamlined the process, there are other governmental systems where you'll still be fucking M or F depending on what you were assigned at birth. The simple fact is this, is that I had to spend 3 months in order to get a time with a judge, get all the paperwork in, have my dead name placed throughout the whole of creation so everyone can make sure I wasn't some fucking serial killer. And then what ends up happening is, after all of that and after having the nicest judge that any human has ever had to deal with, nothing. Because we have deregulated and damaged our governmental systems through austerity measures and pork bills and all these other fucking places that, no one efficiently puts the money, and essentially put it in a place where these agencies don't really communicate except when they do, and it's esoteric and you don't know when. So the first thing I'll say there is that just in and of itself, that should just never be that way. The fact that that's that way is utterly disturbing. Here's how it's transphobic. I might talk about this more Sunday, but one of the things that I've been talking about with my therapist, and I was going to bring to Zena's attention, is the intersection between gender and class. Transitioning is not cheap. There are times when Medicaid will not cover estrogen or testosterone. There are times when it will, and it depends on who you're getting your Medicaid through, but by all rights, you basically get fucked. So if you think about this, most trans people are fairly lower in the economic class system, which means they probably don't have well-paying jobs, which also means they most likely don't have great insurance, which also means that a sizable number of them aren't able to get their insurance to cover various things about their transition. Yeah, not to mention if you're working class, coming out means you may risk your fucking job. And because we've hooked jobs to your fucking, survival skills, like Robert Anton Wilson talked about, spoiler, leaving a job becomes a panic attack. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because this system and the costs to change a name that could just through a database go through and update every governmental agency's piece of information. You could just type the new name in, send it to everybody, have it verified through the forms that have been scanned in, and be done. We live in an age where I can send you a massive PDF like that.
Yeah.
I've already had to spend hundreds of dollars on changing my name, getting ready to do this, and I'm going to pay more to get a new license with a new picture with my actual name on it and with the proper gender marker, because there's a cost for that form too. My belief is systems like this are, by their nature, sexist and transphobic. Sexist because the major people who have to change their name are usually women after divorce, which then that means the system sort of incentivizes not changing their names after the fact. Weird how that works. But on top of it, you also get into the problem that if you're a trans woman and you're using a license that has your old picture, like I am, you dread the idea of being pulled over. It terrifies me to drive. The reason being is because I'm deadly afraid that I am going to absolutely be pulled over and start getting T-slurred and sirs and a bunch of other shit because they see that I have a bald fucking head and look like a boy in a license that was done 4 years ago. So yeah, we need to talk about this. So I kind of went on for a bit. Zena, what are your thoughts on all this?
What? No, it's absolutely dumb. Like, I work in tech. Like, it's not that hard to actually have all of these systems linked together and working and functioning. It's really not that hard. It's also really not that hard, by the way, to be able to put preferred names in systems either. Guess what? Lots of colleges and universities are doing it. Like, there's not a good reason that our state can't do it.
Well, and the simple fact is Zena's absolutely right. Like, there's no reason why this is the way it is, other than it just is that way. That's the enraging thing. Why is the system not streamlined? Why is there, like, we can literally...
This paperwork literally just could have gone from the court's office all the way, like, decently, like, if the system's well put together, go right from the court all the way through the Secretary of State on its own without it, like, us having to go to 4 different offices for all the different documents. Like, why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, I think the problem is that when we're talking about this, and this is the thing people don't think about, is if you are a trans person and you're in the process of changing all of your stuff, I can live without my birth certificate being changed. It's not my favorite, but I can live without it. And I can live without, my database M still being there in some governmental files. Fuck them. As long as my license, my day-to-day documentation shows my name and my gender, we're golden. But the fact that you have to go through this, the fact that in some states, SRS with a doctor's letter is required. Think about that for a second. We get on the shit of European countries because you literally have to, like, sterilize yourself, or you used to have to sterilize yourself in order to transition. And guess what? I don't think SRS is sterilization. That's a turf argument. I don't like that one. Because you can always freeze eggs, you can always put sperm away. It's fine. That's not the point here. The point here is any surgery to transition forced by the government is by definition a violation, in my opinion. This is different than the COVID argument, because the COVID argument is, if you don't get vaccinated, you could fucking kill me. I don't give a fuck of what your rights are at that point. I honestly think we should have goddamn rifles with fucking dart guns hitting people with these at distance in roadblocks. But the fact of the matter that you in some states have to get SRS in order to change your birth certificate is by its nature fucking abhorrent. What if you don't want that?
What if there are medical reasons that you can't do that either? Those are some pretty, like, intensive surgeries that, no, you shouldn't be doing unless you are sure that you are able to and you want to.
Tracy said in YouTube chat, if we can have multiple fields of ethnicities already existing on forums, there is nothing stopping them from adjusting it for gender identity.
Oh, absolutely.
True.
Absolutely.
Like, the fact that the bureaucracy doesn't just update a singular system that then informs everyone, like, you go through the name change and it's done. Like, I get having to change the name with my credit union, which, by the way, go to credit unions. They're better than banks. Just saying. But the fact that just doesn't, this is insanity. I don't mind having to change it with my credit card company or fight with fucking PayPal or any of that shit, because those are private systems. They have their own shit, whatever. But the government? Really? This type of deregulation and lack of communication between these systems is by its nature the same reason why the federal government should be doing your taxes. I want you to look this up at sometime. Not now, stay here. But at some point, I want you to go look up an old episode of, what was that show called? I'm going to butcher that poor man's name. Hassan Majani? Oh, God, I forget the name of that show. I will post it in fucking links later. But there's an episode of a particular show that I can't remember the name of right now because I'm a fucking dip. But essentially, there's a whole discussion in there about the reason why taxes are a fucking joke. It's because we've deregulated and defunded the IRS so much that they literally just don't work. Hassan, yeah, yep, that's the name. Hassan. Yep, I'm just gonna go with Hassan. What is the some of my Patriot Act? Thank fucking Christ, I couldn't have pulled that out of my ass if I tried. There's an episode of Patriot Act where he literally talks about the IRS, and the fact of the matter is that that organization should be so fucking funded, it should be absolutely doing your taxes for you because they have all that info. Minaj. Thank you, Tiamat. Once again, Tiamat's obsession with specificity has saved my life. They could be able to do that, but they don't because they got defunded and because companies like TurboTax, allegedly, want to make buku fucking bucks off of it, despite the laws requiring, might I add, that you should be able to do your taxes for free. Side note, if you ever do your taxes, just as a note, and you want to use the free version of TurboTax that doesn't fuck you, go to the IRS website and follow their link. The one at the IRS website is actually the one that will take you to the free one they're supposed to legally provide for you. If you just go through TurboTax, they will gouge you for hundreds of dollars. I did this the wrong way after Zena saved me the following year, and then I just paid someone to do them for me because my taxes got complicated. My point with this is that government bureaucracy needs to change. And the fact is, policies like this, where things are so fucked, actively hurt marginalized people. The simple fact is that if you actually funded the IRS, then poor people would be able to get their taxes done more effectively. It would be done by people who are directly trained, and it wouldn't try to fuck them. And if you allowed for bureaucracy to work properly, where I get my name changed by a court in my area, and that not only changes your state-level documents, but your federal-level documents, that's how that should work. And so one of the things I'm actually asking for is a policy change. This gets to the whole point of this whole discussion. One of the policy changes I think we as a community should push for, though small we are, is the idea that at the federal level, I believe there needs to be some addition to either the Equality Act or another law that forces all of these things to better become efficient for the benefit of trans people. And I think at a federal level, it should overrule all of the state laws that cause you to have unnecessary fucking requirements that prevent you from actually living your best life because fuck you, we know the science. This is decided. Transphobes are just idiots. TERFs are just a hate group. This is not a discussion. This is not a fucking debate. These people are dumbasses and monsters who are just disgusted by trans people. There isn't some grand fucking discussion. It's literally decided. The plurality of data supports the fact that transitioning helps people be more comfortable and healthier emotionally. Whether that's just socially transitioning in the case of some people who can't take hormones, or, for example, many non-binary people, or medically transitioning. That's literally how this works. So that's the policy position I'm going to say there. One of the things that I really like from Vosh's videos a lot is the idea of what do you actually stand for. You can say what you're not. Lots of fucking Nazis and people like that say that all the time. But one of the things I stand for is I want efficiency in government. I want my taxes, because I'm middle class, I can pay an okay tax. I want my taxes to go towards making this not shitty. So that people who are less well off than me don't have to worry around fucking January to flip the fuck out about their taxes. Or for God's sakes, changing your name becomes a much simpler process. Do you have anything you want to add before we finish this up?
No, that about covers it. Like, I'm super on, like, no, make this stuff easy for people. Make it cheap enough to where cost isn't prohibitive, and you don't need to wait 5 years to save up enough extra money to fucking get your name changed.
Yeah, the fact that it's hundreds of dollars, depending on the state, is by its nature just repugnant. Just repugnant.
Yup.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You can also ring the bell if you want to be notified of our videos. If you want to help the channel, you can donate at streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip. You also can become a patron at patreon.com/transgirltherapist. For as low as $3, you can support our channel. Thanks for watching.